not anti-immigrant. We're anti-open borders, illegal immigrants, terrorists coming across the border, fentanyl coming across the border. So that's now anti-immigrant? This is what I mean. So if you don't embrace the radical, racist, anti-American, and basically inhumane immigration policies, you're anti-immigrant? That's a lie. Joy Reid, well, Joy Reid should not be on TV. Why? She's an out-of-the-closet racist. Before she was on MSNBC, she did a lot of tweeting and posting on social media with her homophobic comments, with her racist comments, with her anti-Semitic comments, much like the president and CEO of Media Matters. And yet Joy Reid is rewarded with a primetime 7 p.m., 5 days a week program on MSNBC, the sister network to NBC, which is all owned by Comcast. Now, why would she do that? That is, why would Comcast do that? Because we don't have a lot of patriotic corporations like we did in the past. In fact, they're unpatriotic in many respects. So I want you to listen to this about MSNBC, from MSNBC, Joy Reid, Iowa. Go.
But, you know, I feel like the important sort of data point, and you know, Steve talks about it a lot, he's going to probably talk about it a little more tonight, is that these are white Christians. That this is a state that is overrepresented by white Christians that are going to participate in these caucuses.
Stop. How is the state overrepresented by anybody? What does that mean? Well, it's not diverse like America. It's Iowa. It's Iowa. Now, there may be a larger percentage of white people to black people or other minorities, but so what? In some states, you'll have a significant percentage of minorities. Doesn't mean they're overrepresented or underrepresented. It is what it is. It's Iowa. If people want to be farmers, then they can go to Nebraska and Iowa and Kansas and other parts of our country which grow the food so we don't starve to death. But she sees everything through the lens of race because she's a racist and she's a bigot. That's why. So it's overrepresented. But what does that mean? It's overrepresented. The Democrat Party is overrepresented by white people. They get the overwhelming majority of the black vote. How many black senators are there in the Democrat Party? One? From New Jersey? Two. One from Georgia? Two. And then there's a black senator from South Carolina. He's a Republican. So what are they talking about? Underrepresented, overrepresented? It's just pathetic. Go ahead.
Yes. Especially tonight. Earlier today, reached out to Robbie Jones, from the Public Religion Research Institute.
Never mind. I don't know who Robbie Jones is from the Public This or Public That. And nobody else does. And nobody watches the show. I use her as a foil. Now, that said, I want you to listen to what she says about Nikki Haley in Iowa. Go.
I think to the point that you made, Steph, I mean, it's the elephant in the room. She's still a brown lady that's got to try to win in a party that is deeply anti-immigrant and which accepts the notion that you can say immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country.
We're not anti-immigrant. We're anti-open borders, illegal immigrants, terrorists coming across the border, fentanyl coming across the border. So that's now anti-immigrant? This is what I mean. So if you don't embrace the radical, racist, anti-American, and basically inhumane immigration policies, you're anti-immigrant? That's a lie. That's number one. I'm into my numbers today. Number two, Nikki Haley's a brown person. So that's why she came in number three. Now, she attacks brown and black people all the time. Clarence Thomas. They attack brown and black people all the time. She, MSNBC, the media, the Democrat Party, unless you toe the line. So it's not about civil rights. It's what I call in my book civil rights Marxism. The Democrat Party pushes civil rights Marxism. If you're a black person, an Asian person, Jew, whatever you are, and you embrace their ideological agenda, then you're put in the group, you're stereotyped, and you're defended come hell or high water. You can be a plagiarist. You can say that genocide against Jews, it depends on the context. They will defend you as president of Harvard, and then when you have to step down, they're going to accuse you of racism, and that's the way it is. But when it comes to Clarence Thomas, they're going to concoct controversies for decades. Conflicts of interest, demean him, defame him. But you're not a racist, you see. You're just calling the shots. So we've gone from civil rights to civil rights Marxism. And I do wish the backbenchers would start to use that. They're doing okay with oppressor versus oppressed, which was first in American Marxism. I didn't invent it. I breathed life back into it. Before that, when I talked about statism, they picked up statism. Now I need them to pick up civil rights Marxism. So I sent out the word, let's see what happens. So Nikki Haley lost in part because she's not white. How come she didn't say Vivek Ramaswamy lost in part because he's not white? How come they didn't say Bergman, or whatever his name is, the governor of North Dakota, that he didn't lose all of his races because he was white? It's sick. You can't win with these Marxist propagandist haters. When you looked at that original stage with the Republican candidates, you had more diversity in terms of skin color than you do with the Democrat Party. You had Tim Scott, you had Nikki Haley, you had Ramaswamy, you had female candidate, you had all kinds of people. A real, rainbow coalition. And so now when people are trying to make their decisions and they're focusing mostly on Trump, that's racist. Because it's Haley that's not winning the votes. This is a sick mind. Can you imagine living like this day in and day out? Can you imagine? I can't. But this is how they see everything through the lens of power and race. And the race issues because of power. It's not because of civil liberties anymore. It's not because of unjust laws. It's because of power. Let's look at Rachel Maddow, another fraud, phony, and fool. And she had a complete meltdown as far as I'm concerned when she saw the results of the Iowa Caucus. Oh my God, Donald Trump won a historic victory. Oh my God. Go.
The big picture takeaway from that, and I don't mean to be, again, too dark, as you said, on this, but it is not, if we are worried about the rise of authoritarianism in this country, we are worried about potential rise of fascism in this country, if we're worried about our democracy.
Now, she wrote a whole book on this, that basically Trump and the Republicans are authoritarians and fascists. And look who the moderator is. A completely translucent human being who was a Biden propagandist, Psaki. While they're going on about whites in Iowa, I'm thinking, Psaki's sitting right there. Last time I checked, she's white. She's not even white. She's translucent. Go.
Falling to an authoritarian and potentially fascist form of government. The leader who is trying to do that is part of that equation. But people wanting that is a much bigger part of that equation.
Right. Wow, what a diversity of opinion. At least Fox brings Tarloff in and some of these other Democrats, or they'll bring some moderates in, or so forth. Look at this. Right to left. Radical leftist. Next, radical leftist who used to work for The Nation, I think. Maddow. Radical leftist. Joy Reid. Radical leftist. Lawrence O'Donnell. Unhinged. Radical leftist. Psaki. Biden. Radical leftist. Look at the diversity there. Look at the stupidity there. Go.
And the American electorate is made up of two major parties. One of those parties has been...
Shut up, you idiot.
Want to see more Mark Levin? Go to levintv.com and subscribe now.